Alright guys, welcome back to the stream. I'm gonna go ahead and close that mic reference on the bottom there. That way you can see as much on here as possible. So what we have going here, the last time you were with me, we're gonna note this blue bar here and then this box right here. I believe the last time you were with me we combined the gun and armor Inkscape pieces into one file here. So we have them all complete in one file here. And I believe we scaled them down to that box, which was supposed to be a 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter box. Problem was, I forgot that this program's in millimeters, which would have been 100 centimeters, so we ended up scaling it incorrectly. So I went ahead and I fixed that, went through and did that scaling. And so that's one method of rescaling everything in here to make sure that it's appropriate. And then because I didn't like how inaccurate this was here, a second method I found out for scaling it, which I was about 2 millimeters larger than intended on this one. So what I did was I picked an easy flat object, which in this case is this box right here. And that correlates to this plane on the top of the backpack, if you remember. So that's a nice straight line that we can get a good measurement off of. And it has a good length to it, that way that there's less room for error. We don't have to worry about the decimal places so much. We can just focus on the whole. So this plane that I just developed right here is 210 millimeters long, which I did change from inches to millimeters in max here. So I created this plane specifically to measure this piece right here, which you'll remember this piece is from here to here. And then we went back into Inkscape. I made this line, this blue line, just created it with the pencil tool, and made it the same length. It's 210 millimeters. And again, so this box was actually about 2 millimeters longer. So I went out, I zoomed all the way out, I selected everything, I deselected our blue bar, and then I scaled it down just a little bit until I got it to the point where I happened to perfectly get it on the first try. It's now happily lined up at the top and bottom. So we know it is perfectly scaled, at least to the nearest millimeter of what we were intending to go for. So now that that's taken care of, I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the last stream or if I got this settled in the last stream, but since then, he wasn't able to get me the measurements for the table, but we did set up a date to have everything laser cut, which is in just under 2 weeks here. 2 days shy of 2 weeks, so 12 days. So I need to get my butt moving and get all this packed onto this box, this box is the size of the laser printer the last time you used it. The reason why I didn't want to use the old files as a measurement is because I know that we ended up changing the measurements ever so slightly because of just putting like a buffer around the laser bed just to make sure that we had that. But I figured if it was what I used at Inkscape in the last project, then it should be okay for this project. So that file is still on the other computer. I literally just looked up the measurements for it, which is 1524 millimeters by 1016 millimeters if you want to look at the inches for that. So and I still have a good foot, I think, and several inches on the side of my foam. So I have a good foot on the end, and then I usually have a couple inches on the side whenever we cut this out of my foam to put on the laser printer bed, because you can't just put the entire sheet in there. You have to actually cut this box out. So anyway, as far as packing the laser cutter goes, I'm going to go ahead and start with this really quick just because we already did a really nice job with this. This is already packed really nicely. And, you literally just need to move everything in here. So again, the red lines are going to be the laser etching into our foam, and the black lines are going to be the laser cutting through our foam so that the pieces fall out. So I'm going to go ahead and some of these other items I'm going to flatten out. And you can go in here and get pretty close just to be like, oh yeah, this gap can be lessened here, and it just depends on how much foam you really want to save. So depending on how much time you want to spend on it will determine how much foam you're saving and what kind of gaps you want to see between everything. Safety wise, you can do a test piece on your laser cutter to see what like the depth of the like the width of the laser cut is. So we can see here there's actually, I really would like to be able to eliminate all of these double lines, but I don't have a really fast, efficient way of doing that, so that's a problem. So again, if we have any double lines underneath the red, that's going to cause a problem. It's going to actually cut through the foam for us, which isn't a huge deal. It's just a visual, like, oh, well, you cut through the foam and you glued it back together instead of you just can't see it from the outside, which is what we want from the etching, is just to actually cut the foam out from the back and have a perfectly seamless front end. That's really the only difference. So if you end up cutting through it, that's fine as long as you remember to glue it back together at the appropriate angle that you wanted to get out of that etching. And again, most of these are pretty well, like I can put something in, I can put like this in here or something. Let's see if that'll actually fit. If I flip it back around, will that fit in here? Yep, okay. There you go. Now we have room in here for something else. What I might be able to do is move this here. So if you're new to organization, as far as packing items, you'll want to start with your largest item. Ideally, like in a perfect world, you start with your largest item and work your way down from the top left, to the bottom right, and then packing in smaller items that fit in whatever spaces are left after you've packed the largest items. So what I'm doing here is getting rid of the items in between here, because I was going to close this gap up right here. There you go. Ta-da! That's just a little bit more room that we got out of that. I'm going to move this piece up top. And I want to move everything up just a little bit. Again, you actually want to have a buffer probably around the edge of this, which I could go check my other file to see if I put things on the line, because if I did, then that means that the file was small enough to actually fit the bed. And then if it was an exact size, then I had probably this amount around the edges here. Basically, you don't want anything touching or crossing over, then it just won't cut out. Which, for me, it's not an issue. I don't mind going through and just like, well, it would only be like this one, this little bit here, which stuff that I could do easily. Alright, and that's a quarter of our bed already. I'd like to continue going with the gun here. So again, starting with the largest pieces. That's not what I wanted. Try to keep the same items together, even though it doesn't really mean anything when I go to edit the file. So, like I said originally, if you have time, move everything in Pepakura with it. That way you know exactly where every single piece is. But I don't intend, when I get there and I'm printing out things, I intend on just punching out the items and throwing them in a trash bag and then driving back home. So I'll be identifying the items after I get back home, which I'll be doing by shape and size, just because I have a knowledge of what every piece is after doing everything. I may even separate them by page, so I'll have one bag for page one, which is this one, which would be mostly gun. So I can say, all right, well, this is definitely, part of the gun based on the pieces that I have on that page. So you can go through and you can actually like do things to make it easier for you to identify things, because obviously some of the smaller pieces, rectangles and things like that, become really, really difficult to identify, especially if you have like fingers. We don't have any fingers on this project, but see how these pieces are all identical on fingers. You'd have different, quite just a little bit different shapes and sizes for like the pinky versus the ring finger versus the middle finger versus the pointer versus the thumb. So you have 5 different pieces there and you're trying to identify which one belongs to which, and you have 2 of each, one for the left and one for the right, so it can become a bit of a problem. And I think I'm happy with this pack right here. I'm going to move this up. Let's see. Let's move. Let's move that there. We can find some things to fill this space here, which is just going to be small things. And I'm going to migrate all of these gun pieces up top so I have easier access. I'm just going to nudge them in here. So the gun's probably only going to be the top half of this. I think this one will fit. No, it's got that nudge on the top. How about these guys? These should fit. Not quite. And then in this instance, again, we wanted to have that buffer around the edge of the file here. I'm going to move these down again. It's a little bit closer to the edge than I want. And then I've got space in between these parts so I can nudge these to try and get that other piece to fit. And I'm probably going to take all of these, just mass move these up here. Oh. Oh, come on. You just had that piece. There we go. Not the one I wanted. Just making sure everything's got its own space here. That looks good. It's so funny how these pieces are. They're basically I think these are actually symmetrical pieces. I think the angles are completely the same on both sides, which was throwing me off because I thought visually it looked like it wasn't, and then I flipped it. I don't know if you heard me press the key, but I flipped it and it looked exactly the same. And I said, okay, that's a visual uh, oddity on my part. You can see I just nudge all these tiny pieces inside of here, which again, these are small pieces. I think this piece is going to move up to the right there. And that is, again, when you get to like identifying these pieces afterwards, honestly, it all comes down to parsing everything out. Just sitting down, taking your time, and doing it, and then keep them separated after that point. So that's the only time you have to do it is once. So once I identify like what pieces are what, which I may still do at the makerspace while things are well, I have, so after this first page finishes printing, I may be identifying these pieces while the next page is working. And what I may do is just bring a bunch of like grocery bags with me, and I'll write on each grocery bag. I'll say, all right, this is the grip of the gun. This is the stock of the gun. You know, this is the armor plating around the barrel. This is the barrel. This is the body of the gun. This is the magazine. And I'll have a different bag for each one of those. And then if a bag is particularly empty, then like this the grip I think is only like two pieces, so that probably is not gonna get its own bag. But like things like you have the trigger, so that would probably go with the grip. And then this piece of detail that's like on the body and stuff. If there's a bag that's particularly empty, I can put it inside of another bag just so they're still separated, but also so I don't have to carry so many bags. All right, we have a couple more big pieces here. And then obviously when it comes to all of the armor parts, I'll just have a different bag for like the foot, the boot versus something on the arm or whatever. I actually really like how these pieces fit together, so I'm going to do that over here as well. So like I can tell this is the butt of the stock here. I remember this piece. It's just things like that. You just get to a point where you recognize what different because I mean at this point we've worked on the model. We've unwrapped that model in Pepakura, and then we've done the same thing identifying the parts now in Inkscape. So you've seen the parts 3 times over at this point over the course of a month or however long that you've been working on this. So yeah, you kind of get to know the shapes. Again, start with the bigger pieces and work your way down. Let's go. So like I'm trying to decide if I even want to put some of these pieces up here right now, or if I would rather go get some larger pieces to fill in these spaces and then put these around them. Like I've got room for some of these up here. Not quite. And if we had actually had to pack these things in Pepakura, this is the same exact thing as packing in Pepakura. So, as far as that goes, it's pretty much just a puzzle. it's kind of boring, but mentally fun, I guess. Like if you like puzzles, you'll probably like packing these things. I find it kind of boring, but at the same time, I it's something that needs to be done. So, and it's not boring in the sense that I don't find it enjoyable. It's just boring in the sense that I feel like there's more fun things I could be doing. Because the entire point of packing is just to get it printed out, and it's like, well, however much time you spend packing is just derivative of how much foam you're going to be saving. So, like, if you don't care, I mean, you can just do it all over the place, but I think I'm going to save these parts. These are really, actually, if I put this inside of this piece here, we'll hide that one there. I think this will fit better though. This looks kind of like a weird stiletto. Sure, why not? Right there. Okay, that should be the entirety of the gun right there. Which, look, I had room up here. I could have packed some things. So, like, I may go back and move, like, some random small pieces up there, but for now, let's put with the gun. Let's start with the backpack. That I think has the most, like, definitive pieces. Let's keep that there, and then let's move all of these. Should be everything from the backpack there. And then out of Pepakura here really quick. I'm gonna double check. So we went looks like all of the backpack there except for the antenna, which was up top. That's right. All right, good, good, good. That's why I double checked those things. Forgot about the antenna. Okay. So, same thing. Start with the big pieces. I'm gonna tighten these two pieces up. This one looks too far away from that one. That one's touching that one. So when I zoom in here in a little bit, I'll double check those. Let's keep these. No, we'll leave that as is because this will tuck in there. That's part of the head. I'm gonna go ahead and close this now. I'm not gonna save it. We don't need that anymore. And then this, I'm gonna see what was that piece. That's the, okay. Pretty sure we don't have any extra pieces here, so. Let's go ahead and tuck that in there really close. I think I'm going to change the soundtrack here in a second. It's weird. I guess that didn't get G'd up. I did not click on that. Calvin cosplay code. I want to do Calvin. He's super cool. No pun intended. Um, but his proportions like Kid Ultra are really difficult. So I've looked and been like, nope. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do something about this piece right here. It's not G'd up. Oh, look at this. What are these doing here? What is? Oh, that's artifacts. Okay, we're good. Uh, what are all these things that aren't G'd up? What is this? Are these pieces that were like individual? That's weird. It's really freaking me out. Again, Isaac, another one I wanted to do. Also, really weird proportions. Really difficult to do. Properly, I should say. Like, you could get away with a modification that's kind of like Isaac inspired, but because of the way his legs work, he's kind of impossible for a human to do. And I'm not big on inspired costumes. I like them to be as accurate as possible. So there's somewhere in there is a realm of that I can't do that character, even though it's possible to do that character. It's not faithful enough to the canon for me to be like, oh, I did that character. I'll be like, oh, I had to modify X amount of stuff, and I no longer feel like I'm that character. It's one of the reasons why I settled on Caldarius, because I was like, oh, I really liked Isaac, and could not do him, so I ended up doing Caldarius instead. think I want to turn this one as well. No, stop ung'ing things. Thank you. I just want to rotate the part. I don't want to select individual pieces. No, we did it again. It's that stupid part on top. Is it attached to this? It is. It's because I didn't G the other thing up. What about this? How is this one fine, but not that one? Someone explain that to me. I keep trying to get the, I'm just gonna have to move some of these other parts out of the way. Because that piece is large and I need to move it. Look, this piece has one of those too. Boop. Boop. There we go. It's still doing the thing. You. No. Wow. There was only one thing on traffic, you guys. That's insane. I'm gonna put this up here. Dad! Welcome to the stream. Natsu's all fired up today. We're working on we're packing the laser print now. Because we are going to be cutting this, IRL, laser cutting this, in 12 days. We now have a date. So mark it on your calendar, folks. September 2nd, as early as 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll be streaming from the really laggy PC, or I'll probably take both my PCs. And I'll see if the newer one will stream. I'm not sure if it'll run OBS. It's a better computer, but I just don't know if I've ever used it. So I'll take that one to stream off of. And hopefully you guys will be able to watch this cutout with the laser, which is really boring. You just put it in the file and you put it in the foam, and the laser just goes bzz, 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 for 10 minutes until it's done. It's happening! But I like to stream it anyway. And then I'll be talking through with you guys. I'll have the headset on because it's the makerspace. There's a lot of people working there, and I will be identifying parts after they get cut out and separating them into bags. And hopefully, what I'm hoping is that I would like to have all of these packed tonight, all of Mike packed tonight, because what I want to do, guys, I actually want to make Caldarius's gun. I said, so Oscar Mike, I originally had the goal to be done for October, right? Because I was going to TFCon in DC. Well, that is a Transformers convention. I was like, well, Caldarius would be a lot more appreciated there. So if I just get Mike printed out with Caldarius' gun at the same time, I'll print them out at the same time. I can have a gun for Caldarius for the first time ever in the 2 years or however long that I've worn Caldarius. 1 year and a half. It's at least a year and a half, possibly 2 years. I think it's a year and a half. And then I'll have a gun for Caldarius. And I can work on Mike in the meantime and continue to work on him over time because I do have a commission to do that is due November, and they're happy to pay a good amount to have it done within the time frame that they have told me. So we may be after we get all this laser cut out and we build Caldarius' gun, we're going to be working on that for about a month, and then we can come back over to Mike and work on him again. Get these just a little bit tighter together before I move them over. Yep, we got a plan. We didn't have one like a week ago, but we have one now. We find it because we got a date for laser cutting all of this. Alright, so I need to G all this up. G. Look, and it doesn't include the bottom because it's part of this piece. Oh my gosh, you guys, ungroup. Is it like Alt Control G? Is that what it was? Object, ungroup. Boop. And then this, we'll get Shift, Control, G. And then is that one piece still? Yeah, that piece is also separated. Okay. It is a part of this one, I think. Yep. But before we ungroup that, we're going to want to group this back together. I think it grouped itself back up. I think it did. Okay, then I can ungroup this. That's one piece now. Finally. Took us long enough, right? If I can, I might like to say, yeah, let's set this here. No, it's too small. No. That's fine. It can go there. Oh, I got to see so many of my cosplay fam this past weekend, you guys. Alright, so far on this page, we have Mike's gun and Mike's backpack. Which again, Mike's gun is huge. I don't know if you've ever looked at Mike carrying his gun, but it is very large. There's his backpack, which will be usable. We're going to have a slot on the side where we can put our things in. So now, what else do we want to put on this page? We can put his, let's put his little pockets on here. Oh, they're too big. Okay, we can't do the pockets. These straps should all be individual. Double check here. Let's maximize this. Oscar Mike, maximize! Okay. I can put his wrist on there, that's all one thing. Those are straps from his legs. I forgot about those. That's an individual strap on the side. We can put that on there. We can put that on there. We can put that on there. Although I'd like to have that down here with this. Tell us the story of Cosplay Fam. Yes. Like I said, I've already helped with the Phoebe cosplay. And I might buy that off the person who made the fabric for it. I did the armor for the Phoebe cosplay. And when you say easy, that's a lot of fabric. It took her a while to do that. She did a really good job on it. Yeah, fabric. Plaid has been here as I've been working on fabric. He knows how difficult it is for me. So, we're gonna say that Phoebe is actually on the unattainable level for me, but I might still buy it off my friend because she said she's not gonna wear it anymore. She just wore it for the couple of times. And she's had a baby since then, so I don't think she still fits it anymore. All right, so this was like these were all leg pieces except for that one. That's the wrist. Let's do the wrist really quick. Let's move that over before I forget. Oh, it's one thing here. Look at that. Do I have all of... Yeah, I have to G these up separately. So long story short, we can do Phoebe, but the cosplay is already done, and... Which she might give me a good deal on that one. She gave me a good deal on Wrath when I helped her with Wrath, so... I actually want to move this up top there on the left. Next time I do battle with the sewing machine. But then I'll be even hotter, Plaid. It was already way too hot in here, just because I was so stressed out from working on the fabric. What won't it select? Oh, because it's still G'd up. What's the button for stop G? Shift, Control, G. Boop. Boop. I want to move this one up here. If it'll fit, it's gonna be close. Oh, it's super close. We could just tilt it a little bit and it'll be fine. There we go. Now, I'm not opposed to wearing armor while sewing, I don't think it would be very wise. I'd need to have it very, very cold in here. During the winter I can do it. If we're sewing in the winter, we can do it then. I'm not so sure about this piece here. This one's a larger piece. It may just have to chill. It's probably good. Alright, so these were the straps for the legs. Right? These were the leg straps, the other leg straps. This is that arm piece. This is also an arm piece, which that's not supposed to happen. Shift Control G. Control G. So why are these red? Why did I leave these black? Is it just that? Like, that should be red. There's no reason that shouldn't be red. Maybe just the helmet. Gotta protect the moneymaker. Oh, but then I can't see as well. Then I'm gonna trouble my hands. That's the real moneymaker there. Actually, hang on. Do that and shift. That way I can just draw this down to here. Is that close enough to like where it was? I think that's pretty close. I think we did okay. That brain. And I think the reason why, which will go in here and we'll delete these secondary lines here. Please fit. Oh, you guys, it came back with lots of posters too. I'm gonna have to show you my wall here in a little bit when we take a break. We'll take a break after we finish this page here, so. Alright, so what other pieces were acceptable over here? Like this piece was one, right? That goes with that, but we needed that piece with it. Come. Boop. Okay. Leg. I think we can put that with those, and then those are all singles. Let's save this really quick. Page 1. Oh, look, I already saved it as page 1. Look at that. Place. I'm so smart, you guys. Alright, this is leg. Thigh. This is thigh. That's what that is. Yeah, the only thing keeping me from doing Warframe plaid is the grind. I have heard that it's very grindy and like I don't have time. That's really the only thing keeping me from doing it is time. But thank you, plaid. Let's throw these in there too. Let's see what we get here. Will these fit sideways? That'll work for that one. These are the ones that are going to be cutting it close though. Oh, those are together. Sorry, fam. You can't stay together. I think that one piece is not going to fit, that one elbow piece. It's going to be an oddball on the next page. Trying to see if there's any other way that I could optimize some of these, like move some of these smaller parts together to move this on here, but it's a larger piece. I shouldn't have done that. Alright, let's save that. Look at that, guys. We got page 1 right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to steal all of these parts, which I think I only have to touch them on here. I gotta control them. Okay. We'll move those here. I think that's all of them that we got there. So this is all one page here. So I'm going to go ahead and segregate all these fulls right here. They're with the guns, which have their own Pepakura file. So that's good. We'll save that. So we have these left. Dwarf, I see you. Beautiful. Okay. Oh, this is still Jade. Shift Control G. Boop. There we go. We did it. All right, we still have all these left. Okay. So now we can save. And now what I'll do is I'll take all of this. I'm going to shift all of that up. Which I maybe should have shift clicked instead of shift arrowed. Oh, it does something different apparently. Can I just click shift then? Will that do what I want? I don't think, no. How do I guess it's just gonna get moved. We're not gonna shift it. Okay, it's up there. You can see that it's in a brick, a nice organized brick. That's one page. So now we're gonna save as page 2. And again, I think this time I'm gonna start with the foot. The chest is going to be awkward too. It's got a lot of round parts in it. Maybe I should start with that one. The foot at least has some very straight pieces even though they're curved. Oh, this was part of the gun. We missed this part of the gun. That's fine. And this one and those 4 pieces are part of the gun. Dwarf, I have a mecha convention in December. I don't remember what it's called, but I got invited to it. It's down in San Antonio. I know that. And then family will want me to be over for Christmas, so there's that. But other than that, no. Why dwarf? Do you have a special dwarf event? Which, before I get too far along, this would be a good time for me to take a break. So let me go ahead and pause the recording.